is the king.
What's good, everybody? It is Capital J Productions. I'm back with another video. We're gonna go ahead and get started. And today I'm finally getting around to talking about why I stopped selling beats, why I stopped trying to sell beats, why I just like completely gave up on like trying to make it in the music business, right? Now, I never talked about why. I just stopped a long time ago, but I never really talked about it. And in this video, I'm gonna be talking about some important reasons. Like it's past business, okay? I'm gonna be making some very valid points that I think a lot of producers don't think about. So let's get right to it, because I don't want this video to be long, okay? So the problem I originally have with being a music producer is the messages, okay? The messages that's in these songs. What are you supporting? You know what I'm saying? By me being the music producer, right? Like I'm really the guy that's making these sick beats, you know? And for me, I've given away a lot of beats over the years. I've given a lot. I've sold a few, right? I sold enough. Lease beats, sold beats, you name it, right? But the reason why I stopped is because I have to really ask myself, what was I really supporting? And what was I really doing? What was I causing, right? Like all y'all know, right? Like I'm gonna be pulling up some stats pretty soon, but I don't think music producers really think about things deeply, like enough. Like we know these rappers are rapping about all this gang life, being in the streets, all of that stuff, and we're kind of the gasoline that's fueling it, right? We're giving the beats that get these guys hyped up to rap about these things. We're giving the beats, you know, that get these guys pumped up for this, to go in the studio and rap about these things. But look at the consequences, okay? Like I'm a black guy, right? So seeing my own people get exploited, seeing my own people getting killed, going to jail, seeing my own cousins, right, going to prison. And even to this day, like I went back when my cousins went to prison, I was around 16, 17 years old, you know, and I'm 44 now. So, and they still in prison. So, and I know that I grew up with them. So I know what type of, like, when gangster music first popped off, they were listening to it. They was influenced by it, right? Like that was part of the influence. So, you know, I remember, you know, it's deep. It's deeper than what most people think. When you black and you from the ghetto and that's all you see, that's all you around, right? Your choices are limited, right? Your choice is very limited. Either you play basketball, you play football, or, you know, you rap. It's usually one of those three things, okay? Because when I was growing up, that's what it was. Like, that's your only way out the hood, right? Or you end up being the gangbanger, if you know, or a pimp or something like that, something of the streets. In order for you to, I guess you don't think like me back then. I wasn't thinking like, how can I escape? Well, I was thinking that, but I was always thinking like I didn't want to be anything that I saw or anything that I was around. But you know, you do become where you around, your environment. Like you do become a victim of your product, like of your environment, right? So a lot of that is is some truth to that, because it almost happened to me. But with me, I didn't have no father around. I had no one to teach me anything. So I kind of gravitate towards music. Like I remember my cousins having a keyboard, and I started. I heard I would see they would mess with it sometimes, and I like it. Really, just I don't know. It just like kind of called me out. Like when I would hear the notes and I would hear the music play, it almost like it spoke to me, and that's kind of like how I kind of gravitate towards to just start playing with keyboards, and slowly, and I just kind of learned on my own. I just started playing around, learning the keys. You find out eventually, you play around enough, you figure out what sounds right, what doesn't sound right, what keys to press, what keys not to press, all of that stuff. So that's how I learned on my own. And I kind of figured like, man, I'd rather just do this than to be in the streets, or I'd rather just do this than to to be with my cousins gang banging. I'd rather just sit here and mess with this keyboard, instead of becoming a gang banger or, becoming a pimp. And I was pretty good in basketball, but I wasn't great enough to like get on the team or anything like that. So I used beats as a way to try to escape. I thought that was going to be my way, because music was back then. Everybody wanted to be a music producer back then, or a rapper, mainly a rapper, not really a music producer. I really didn't want to be a rapper. And by being raised with my cousins, seeing them be in the streets, and they were known gangbangers, seeing all the drama they went through, and just seeing everything that they did, right? I already knew that rappers were kind of, they everything that they rap about, they talk about is kind of cap, because it's like, I seen the real gangsters, right? And they always hiding, they always trying to keep things on the low. Like they don't just go and tell all their business to nobody, period. They really don't. They just keep everything internal. They may discuss it with their gang or the few affiliated with in the gang. They only knows, but nobody really knows their business like that. So these rappers are all cap, right? Okay, any rapper that's rapping about the streets, I don't care who it is, I don't care how hard they come off, they may come off, and it's all cap, because ain't no smart gangsters gonna actually get on a microphone and basically just tell all of this stuff and basically put himself in prison. Okay, so but yeah, I had to really, as I got good, right, I because the whole plan was like, man, I just don't want to be like them, right? I don't want to end up like them, so I managed to avoid that. And I became great over the years, just practicing and everything, trying to make it to the game, listening to, different beats, buying CDs, buying tapes, listening to them, trying to get my music as loud as theirs, all of that stuff. I've been there, done that, right? And I'm, eventually, like I learned, like, oh, I got the wrong tools, don't use these keyboards, start, use this instead, I had to learn everything, right? So now, like, I probably mastered music maybe about 15 to probably like 17 years ago. And got to the point, I got so good because I was just practicing every day. Whenever I wasn't at work, I would come home and do beats. And I will always challenge myself, like, can I make this? Can I make a beat that sounds like that on the radio? Can I do this? Can I do that? And then I got so good, I started just creating my own style of beats, like, because I got tired of just what I heard on the radio. And I'm like, well, what's the point, of we got all these sounds and everybody is using the same sounds? Because if you're listening to the radio, that's what they do. They listen. They pretty much use all the same styles, it's all the same type of tracks. It's the same kicks, it's the same snares, it's the same, hi-hat patterns, it's the same snare rolls, it's the same bass line, it's the same sub. It's they're using all the same stuff. So it's kind of easy to once you recognize, all of this stuff, music really will come easy to you, and it becomes really easy to get in the game. But there's a lot that comes to it, and once I realized I can make any and everything that I wanted, I knew it would be easier for me to get in the game. But then I'm glad that God blocked me, because that's really what it was. God just, as I became to get better in music, I got better spiritually over the years. I got better with, serving God. I got better as a whole, because my producer name, I named myself a long time ago, which is Capital J Production. And I'm all about capitalizing, right? Capitalizing on opportunities, capitalizing on, if I need to do better here, if I need to do better there, I need to capitalize on it. That was my whole thing. So that's kind of like what I used to fuel my whole entire life. And but the thing is, when you get better spiritually, when you grow, you start seeing things that you didn't see before, and you start listening to I've listened to so many albums. I listened to so many, rappers, and they all pretty much rap about the same stuff. And after a while, you just start to, especially if you're into God, you're going to start asking questions like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? All these rappers, they all rapping about the same stuff. Like, what is really going on, right? So that was one of the reasons that it started there. Things started changing for me. And then you start to recognize, like, what I think one of the best things I could have done was I started listening to other genres of music. Instead of just listening to rap music all day, I'm being in the hood all day. I'm around street dudes all day. All my friends are either street dudes or gangbangers, And when you're around that environment 24/7, you might not become of it like I wasn't, but just being around it is, 24/7 is bad enough, and you can get wrapped up in it, so it's easy to get wrapped up in it. So but the thing about it is, I wanted to become a better musician. I was always trying to become better, and I was always trying to be better than the next producer, because that's the music game. It's very competitive. You have to be on top of your game, and I considered myself to be the best, and I wasn't gonna let nobody beat me, I wouldn't, I was just like that, just period, right? I felt like nobody was gonna beat me up, nobody was gonna, like, if you have beef with me, you ain't about to out beef me, whatever, like, that's just how it was. Okay, so I remember I got to a point to where I felt like I needed to listen to other genres of music. So I started doing that, and it really started to open my eyes even more, because I realized, these other genres of music, these guys are making hits just like the black rappers and stuff are making hits, but these guys ain't dying. Like, these guys are alive. They stay alive. They usually live pretty good lives, right? And I'm talking about whether it's rock music, whether it's classic rock, whether it's Christian music, whether it's pop, you name it, any genre you could think of, jazz, whatever. A lot of the guys, ain't nobody really getting killed like that in no other genre. R&B, any other genre you can think of. No artists are getting killed like how there are in hip hop, and in the black side of hip hop on top of that, because there's Mexican rap, there's other genres of raps, and they not dying like that. It's only the black people that's dying like that. So I started to realize these things, and so it made me started thinking on a higher scale, right? Like, and it just came to the fact that I had to look at what was my role as a music producer. Am I feeling like it? Am I actually putting gas in the next rapper that's going to die, right? Am I doing that, right? So when you start thinking like that as a music producer, it's going to change you. You're gonna have to you're gonna have to come to the conclusion, like, like what are you really supporting? What are you really doing? Or do you have a hand in a lot of these rappers' death? Rapping about drugs, because hip hop got, like, they're just known for creating crackheads. It only promotes drugs, getting high, you know what I'm saying, selling drugs, being a thug, going to jail. It really just, everything demonic, it really represents. And I've kind of came to that conclusion, and I remember telling myself, like, I don't want to be in support of that anymore. Don't get me wrong, I love beats. I still do beats to this day, but all the beats that I do, I do them for God. I do them because I know He gave me that gift. It's my way of praising Jesus, praising God, right? Because there's no wrong way, or right way to praise the Lord. That's something you won't learn in the church. I know a lot about all of that stuff, but I'm not talking about that, so we're not even gonna go there. But the truth of the matter is that the devil he was a musician in heaven. And you read about the Bible, you read about everything, and it's kind of like, it's not a coincidence that now he's been cast out of heaven and he's here on earth, and now he rules the music industry. And that's something that can't be denied at this point. Like, if you look at there's so many, I mean, you could just type it on YouTube or in the Google. Everybody kind of knows, like, if you in the music industry, like, that's just the God's honest truth, that the devil runs the music industry. And I believe that he's starting there, or started there, and he's trying to overtake God's earth, because that's the goal, right? Start in Hollywood, run that. Once he gained complete control over that, then go to Hollywood, run that, own that. Then after that, get into government. After you run that, complete that, he's slowly but surely is taking over the world. That's what's really, and you ain't gonna hear nobody tell you guys about that. But I've been studying this stuff for a long time, so I know what most people don't know, right? And I'm just kind of putting the story together as God give it to me and everything. So anyway, right? I know for a fact that hip hop is cursed. I know for a fact that you got to look at the patterns, right? You got to be able to put the pieces together. Like I was saying with Satan and how he was a musician, he got cast out in heaven, and now all of a sudden he's running the music biz in Hollywood and everything. So because it's all about blood sacrifices, and that's why these rappers keep getting killed. A lot of these rappers don't know what they really signing up for, and this is why you have all these white executives, right, that's signing these black hip hop artists. It's a setup from the get-go, but a lot of the rappers are too young, they're not educated enough, and they just don't understand what they're signing up to. They think they're signing up for money, but they're really signing up to be sacrificed later on down the line, whether it's 10 years, 20 years, whatever the contract that they may have with the devil. That's usually how that works, right? So it gets deep. It's a lot I can talk about that, but I'm already 18 minutes in. But I mean, if you look at like Diddy and Suge Knight, right? Both of those guys were black men. They both was running it in the hip hop world, and both of them came down. Now both of them in prison. Like, do anybody even recognize that? I don't hear nobody even talk about that. Like, you got Diddy and you have how do both the two black men, right, that's from hip hop, the two top hip hop guys both end up in the same place? You don't see that in no other genre of music. You just don't. So this is what I mean about hip hop having a curse on it, and how the devil is running hip hop. And it gets really deep, so the point is, hip hop at this point is it represents everything against God. They tell you, they promote stealing from people, right? They promote killing. They promote, don't honor your neighbor, right? Don't, like if you look at all the 10 commandments, rap goes against every last commandment of all 10 of them, Now you hear rappers talk about they put this on God, or they calling themselves God, which is against the Bible, right? Steal, kill, and destroy. They're representing everything that the devil represents, and it was done by design, okay? And so bringing this back to a producer's point of view, it just makes you have to ask yourself, do I want to have a hand in that? Do I want my beat? Do I want a rapper that's talking about kill, steal, and destroy our own people on top of that, right? Like my own people, which is like African American. I'm black too. So if I'm making money off a rapper and he goes and he basically he's gonna curse himself on on my track, and it's probably gonna curse me too, right? But you can't see these things, but because if you don't understand God's law, you don't understand how these things happen, right? So you don't know. You just later on all this bad stuff start happening and you don't know why. But if that rapper gets on my track and he's spitting his verses, he's talking about how he would kill his crew, his, you know what I mean? They go out and he the baddest thing out there, all of this stuff, right? Basically what he's doing is he just cursing himself and he's cursing his own people, and the producer and everybody involved are going to be cursed. This is just the honest God truth that nobody wants to talk about, or nobody probably knows about. This is why I'm talking about it today, because as producers, we need to do a better job standing up and saying, you know what? Nope. If this rapper don't talk about anything positive or anything that's going to uplift my people or anything like that, I don't want no parts. I'm not doing no beats. I don't care how much money y'all willing to pay me. Not doing it. Because at this point, and it's been this way for a long time, blacks are being put in jail at the highest rate, you know what I'm saying? And we're getting killed in the highest rate. And it's supposed to be our own music, right? But this is happening to us the most. So anyway, let me wrap this up because it's getting kind of long. But I want to talk about what I found on Wikipedia, right? And I'm gonna read this for you guys real quick. But it said this is a list of notable rappers and hip hop musicians murdered since 1987. And it said that says it got studies in the mid 2010s concluding that murder was the cause of half of hip hop musician deaths. The average age of death is between 25 to 30 years old. Just think about that. Hip hop artists have a higher rate of homicide than artists of any other genre of music, ranging from 5 to 32 times higher. And they give the reasons here, but the thing about, like, Wikipedia is telling the truth, okay? They telling all the truth that they can tell. But the truth of the matter is it's a setup. It's a blood sacrifice. Like I was telling you guys, it's a contract. These record labels, they're not gonna tell the truth and how they have a contract with the devil, that they gotta kill a certain amount of black men. They're not gonna tell you guys about that. Okay. See, if you're in the spiritual side of the game, you see all of this, you know what I'm saying, like I do. But most black people are not, and they don't know what's going on. So they don't understand. Because think about it, they give these rappers a contract. But okay, if they're willing to give these rappers a contract and give this money, but you gotta rap about killing your own people, right? Think about that. Why did they put that in the contract for you? Where are they getting this stuff from? See, black people don't think about this type of stuff. They just see money and they get happy. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be smarter than that. As black people, we got to think on a higher scale. We got to get closer to God. That's number one. You know what I mean? Because God is going to redirect you. He's going to start showing you stuff like he showed me. And you're going to start changing your ways, you know what I'm saying? Because you can still do music. You can still do any type of beat you want. It's not the beats that's the problem. It's the messages that's in these beats that's problems, right? And that's it. We'll just change the messages, you know what I'm saying, that you hear over these beats. That's it, because it's really just curses. That's why they call them verse. Spit your verse. Yeah, a lot of rappers don't understand that. Like, it's more biblical than they think it is. Just think about why next time somebody say, oh, okay, spit a verse for me. Where you think that came from? It came directly from the Bible. It's just, you know what I mean, they put their own spin to it. The devil always following after God, and then he puts his own spin to it. Okay, so that's all I got for you guys today, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this. I tried to keep this as short as possible, but this one is deep, and now y'all understand why why I'm never gonna sell beats again. Actually, because if I can't force a rapper to rap about Jesus Christ the King or God or anything positive, right? It don't have to be about what I believe in, but it got to be something positive. If I can't ensure that they're gonna rap about that type of stuff, I'd rather not sell no beats. So that's why I don't have no beat store. It's easy. I can set all of that. I've been set all of that. I can even get it. There are beat stores and stuff for free. You can get. You don't have to have like money and pay out money to do it. But you know, I don't want to hear nobody curse my beats no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's pretty much the reason why. And yeah, I want to know what y'all think. You know, do y'all think I'm wrong? If y'all think I'm wrong, I hope you really ready for my response, because I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not even gonna give you a clue. But I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this music game. I know some people in some high places, okay, like that I've never told nobody, but my wife knows. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot I can tell y'all about a lot of these people that y'all see right now, like that's in the headlines. I can tell y'all what's going on with them and everything, but that's not my position to do that. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, that's all I have for y'all today. Just let me know what y'all think about this. And yeah, if you're a musician, or if you have some skin in the game or whatever, and you know what I'm saying, you ain't scared like I ain't scared, you know what I mean, let me know what y'all think. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to know what y'all think, you know. All right, I'm out. Y'all stay blessed out here. Okay, peace.
And the beginning and the